This presentation and this workshop today is called Leveraging the California English Learner Roadmap Across and Through the System of Support. We're thrilled to have you all here today. The outcomes for today's session are to understand how it's basically to understand how two initiatives in the system of support that are focused on English learners are advancing the California English Learner Roadmap policy across the statewide system of support. And those two initiatives are the Regional English Learner Specialists and the English Learner Roadmap Power and Collaboration Across California, or EPIC. We're also going to explore strategies that build coherence, strengthen capacity, and foster equity for English learner and multilingual students. And we are going to identify some starting points to improve outcomes for our English learner students and create sustainable systems impact. So we're really thrilled to have you all here. So brief overview, we'll start with some introductions and I'll introduce our presenters. Then I will briefly discuss our foundational framework, which is the EL roadmap. We'll go over some data about to try to understand who our English learner students are in California. We'll spotlight both of our initiatives here, the RELS and the EPIC initiative. We'll talk about the cross-collaboration between these two initiatives and how they support impact for English learner students. And we'll give you some time to kind of explore offerings and support that might be useful for you in your system. So welcome. My name is Emily Ingram. I'm at the CDE in the Multilingual Support Division. I'm an education programs consultant and a point of contact for the RELS. Today, we're joined by an amazing group of experts for EL education in the field. We have Tony Mora, Lisa Winberg, and Graciela Garcia Torres. They're all RELS across the state, and they are from various county offices as well across the state. For our EPIC leads, we have Rosalba Gonzalez, Sumin Chow, and Nicole Chavez, and they are also working in tandem with the RELS to advance the work. So I'm going to just begin with the foundational policy framework for English learner education and support that guides our work across California. It is the English Learner Roadmap, and it's intended to provide guidance on welcoming, understanding, and educating the diverse population of students who are English learners attending our California public schools. This policy was approved unanimously by the State Board of Education in 2017. And it consists of 4 interrelated principles that guide instruction and programmatic support for our EL students. And it's intended for every level of the system to come together and support English learners in an assets-oriented framework. So principle 1 is really about our first task, which is understanding the strengths of our EL students and the talents and gifts that they bring to our schools and how we can provide support from an assets-oriented perspective. Principle 2 is intellectual quality of instruction and meaningful access. And this principle seeks to foster deep understanding of research and instructional pedagogy and practice, and how we use effective instructional strategies to support language development and high academic achievement. Principle 3 is all about system conditions that support effectiveness, and it speaks really to data and assessment literacy. How do we study our local data to build a deep understanding of the effectiveness of our EL program? How do we make adjustments and ensure resources are dedicated to our EL program? And principle 4 is all about building alignment and articulation within and across our system so that English learners can thrive. Together, all of these principles articulate our vision for California that English learner and multilingual students fully and meaningfully access and participate in a 21st century education and attain high levels of English proficiency, mastery of grade level standards, and opportunities to develop proficiency in multiple languages. If you want to learn more or explore the resources, please scan the QR code or the link will be dropped in the chat to the resource hub. Remember this vision as we move through our presentation today and think about how you might leverage this policy with your work with your EL students. And now I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Winberg, our RELs for Region 10.
Hi there. Good morning, everybody. I'm really excited to be here with you today to share the why. So we have some data that we would like to present to you guys today. This data is just a little bit behind. We're all very excited. Tomorrow is the big day. If you didn't know, November 13th, our California dashboard for the 24-25 school year is going to be releasing tomorrow morning. So I'm sure all of us will be refreshing like crazy all morning, waiting for that web page to go live. So until that time, we're looking at 23-24 data here. So this is data for our entire state. So in the 23-24 school year, we had 1,074,833 English learners. Of those students, 235,462 of them were considered long-term English learners. Of those 1,074,000 students, 45.7% of them made progress in their English language proficiency. This is measured through the ELPI, or the English Learner Progress Indicator, on the California dashboard. And this was a decline, unfortunately, from the previous year of about 3%. When we looked at our long-term English learners, the data trended. It was very similar to our English learner population as a whole. So about 45.8% of long-term English learners had made progress. And that was almost a 1% more of a decline from the previous year than when we compare that number to our English learners. This bottom data point is the data point that I really tend to focus on when I'm out in the field working with districts and working with schools, is looking at that percentage of English learner students, not only that didn't make progress, these students also did not maintain, but they actually regressed in their English language proficiency. So we had in 23-24, 19.4% of our English learners, and that equates to over 208,000 students who regressed in their English language proficiency. So there are some different data platforms that I know many of our districts are using here in Riverside County, such as the Elevation platform, or there are a lot of internal databases that I know a lot of districts have created to be able to track and put names to those students. That is what's really critical in this work. When we're looking at the work of the RELs, when we're looking at the work of the EPIC grant, we want to make sure that this number goes to zero if possible, right? We don't want any of our English learners regressing on our watch. So we want you thinking about that number as we're talking about the different supports that we are providing throughout the state. Next slide. So also here we have a little bit more data, and this is in regards to English learner performance on the CASP assessment. This is updated. We're grateful that this data updates prior to the dashboard. So this is the latest and greatest from the 24-25 school year. And what we see here is that across the state, we had 10.4% of our English learners who achieved at the standard met or exceeding level on ELA. And when we compare that to their non-EL peers, they're performing at 56%. So 56% of non-English learners were performed at the standard met or exceeded rate in ELA, compared to just 10% of our English learners. In math, we had 11% of English learners statewide performing at the standard met or exceeded rate. And when we compared them to their non-EL peers, they were performing at 42.45% of them were at the standard met or exceeded rate. So this is a gap analysis. You can see the analysis across other student groups in this report as well. It's amazing to see our reclassified students performing at the top of this list. So we know that when we reach that, all of those reclassification benchmarks, they are outperforming all of the other student groups on this list. In ELA, 60% of our RFEP students were in that standard met or exceeded band, which is very, very exciting. So the worrying part is that our English learners, we have less English learners than even our students with disabilities, our foster youth, our migrant ed, our homeless, and our socioeconomically disadvantaged students. So we know that there are gaps that are perseverating across our system for our English learners when we compare their performance with their peers. Next slide. So we do want to bring to your attention, there is an EL Roadmap resource hub. It's available at this link here. And at that hub, you can find a ton of resources. Some of these resources are resources for dual language immersion. There is a lot of research that you can find here. There are many toolkits that have been developed, and they all embody this vision for educational equity. So I'll just take a quick second to let you read this vision. What we are all about, what we're here for today. And I did want to make a quick mention of the data on the previous slide. There is a link in the chat if you wanted to see how your district fares in comparison to the state. Please click on the Tableau link that Nicole put in the chat for us so you can see, are you above the state average? Are you below the state average? How did your district fare on these data points when you compare your English learners to their non-EL peers? So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Tony.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning. Buenos dias, everybody. In this section, I will be sharing with you the work of Regional English Learner Specialists, aka RELs. Next slide, please. RELs are one of many lead agencies and special initiatives that make up the California statewide system of support. We provide technical assistance, resources, and tools to local education agencies and county offices of education within our region. Next slide, please. Our current program structure is 11 lead county offices of education agencies serving RELs, but there are more than 11 COEs doing the work. RELs lead regional work around 6 priority areas aligned to the California English Learner Roadmap to support English learner students. These are leadership, expertise, outreach, engagement, coordination, and engagement, identification, and networks. We work on specific actions within each of the priorities. Next slide, please. Each COE agency serves as an RELs, has experience and success in implementing continuous improvement processes and the capacity to provide technical assistance and robust outreach. We highly recommend that you reach out to your RELs in your region for support and guidance if you have not done so already. The RELs on this slide are hyperlinked to their email addresses. Drop in the chat, please, folks, so you could have access to the directory. Next slide. Besides having the 6 priority areas that guide our work, we also ground our work with our regional continuous improvement plans. Next slide, please. RELs are dedicated to aligning all internal systems to meet REL's program goals, as well as the identified actions and services within our continuous improvement plan. Regional County Office of Education EL specialists engage with County Office of Education in their prospective regions in a continuous improvement cycle, setting goals, monitoring process, and making adjustments as needed, all to support LEAs and improve the outcomes of EL students. Next slide, please. Here are some highlights and learnings from our continuous improvement plans from last year. We saw training from CD and support by RELs was crucial in reducing the number of findings in federal program monitoring reviews. We saw the number of LTEL students reduce in regions. We saw that proficiency levels on the LPAC increased. We also saw an increase in the number of participants from LEAs attending professional development and networks given by the County Office of Education. Some of our continuous improvement plans also suggest that reclassification practices and support may be needed to further reinforce that with our LEAs. And with that, let me turn it over to Nicole that will get you through to the EPIC.
Thanks so much, Tony. The EPIC grant was designed by 4 county County Office recipients of the Educator Workforce Investment Grant, Effective Language Acquisition Programs. As a part of the state system of support, it truly has been a statewide collaboration across county offices, CDE, and our RELS colleagues. Next slide, please. The EPIC grants' goals, spanning from fall 2023 through July 2026, focuses on professional learning and collaboration from early childhood through high school settings around the topics of integrated and designated ELD, biliteracy, and strengthening the application of the English Learner Roadmap policy. Considering the data you've just heard and the work of RELS, you can see why this work is so important. These professional learnings have been specifically curated for teachers, paraprofessionals, school leaders, and counselors. How and in which way these topics were identified and spoken to was a response to collecting statewide data, as well as in collaboration with the RELS' team's continuous improvement plans that Tony just spoke of. Truly designing with intent and relevancy. Next slide. This grants' reach, structured into 4 intentional zones, is led by these remarkable women. From Zone A, Sacramento County Office of Education, Graciela. From Zone B, San Bernardino County, Rosalba. From Zone C, our colleague from Los Angeles County, Sue Min. And myself from Zone D, Orange County. And now to share the impact of this collaboration through this grant is my colleague, Doctora Rosalba. Next slide.
Thank you. So now that you have met our 4 EPIC leads who are guiding and supporting this impactful work, let's take a look at how our efforts are organized across the state. The EPIC grant network is structured like it was mentioned into 4 COE alliances, which allow us to provide more focused, regionalized support to the county offices and the districts that they serve. So as you can see for Zone A, as mentioned, Graciela Torres from Sacramento County Office of Education, and it includes 35 county offices serving approximately 265,000 students, 932. Zone B, Rosalba, which is me, from San Bernardino County Superintendents of Schools, and we're leading 16 county offices and serving approximately 292,593 students. For Zone Z, is led by Dr. Sumin Chow from Los Angeles County Office of Education, covering 3 county offices and serving around 287,707 students. And Zone D is led by Dr. Nicole Chavez from Orange County with 4 county offices. And as you can see, 266,125 students. So together, these zones create a statewide network, equitable support, and professional learning opportunities for educators serving English learners. In the next slide, you're going to be able to see this is a visual that highlights that incredible work that the EPIC grant is reaching, which has provided support to 54 out of 58 counties across California, demonstrating the wide impact on educator preparation statewide. This next slide gives us a clearer picture of that impactful work, and it showcases the broad reach and impact of the EPIC grant. To date, all the 4 EPIC zones have served 54 out of the 58 counties, meaning that at least 2 of the LEAs were participating in professional development in the region. So 621 LEAs, in which 19 counties attended or hosted multiple professional development across all the zones. And in the next slide, Dr. Sumin Chow will walk us through the cross-collaboration and the work of the EPIC grant.
Good morning, everybody. And I wanted just to essentially build on some of the information that was provided to you today, the overview of our system in supporting our English learners, multilingual learners through the RELs across the state, as well as the capacity building and professional learning that happens through EPIC. And so what we do is we carry that work further in a collaborative fashion to our bilingual coordinators network, right? And so you're going to be able to see a document in a moment, and we're going to walk you through it and also, invite you in a reflection on how this might apply to your own local context. But just as an overview, there are conversations that have been ongoing in partnership with the RELs and EPIC as a collaboration that has been happening through BCN, which is comprised of our regional English learner specialists, our RELs, from each of the regions, the 11 regions that we serve, as well as representatives from each of the 20 largest districts serving English learners. And then representation from each of the county offices of education across the state of California, as well as institutions of higher education that serve in terms of bilingual education prep. So all of these conversations have been ongoing and are related to the larger goal as well as localized problems of practice that have been identified through continuous improvement. And so I'm going to hand it over to Graciela, who's going to take you into our note catcher.
Thank you, Sumin. Buenos dias, good morning. I'm Graciela Garcia Torres, and I'm with the Sacramento County Office of Education in REL and also EPIC Zone A. And in this note catcher, you're going to be able to navigate through the continuous improvement plan, problem of practice, as well as 3 high leverage strategies and a goal that each REL worked within their zone or within their region to be able to come up with a way of responding more locally to the needs of our multilingual English learner students. So thank you, Emily, for sharing this screen and sharing this note catcher. And it is already in the chat. Thank you, Nicole. And so you have the instructions in terms of what we hope that we're able to give you 10 minutes to navigate through. And in this aspect of looking at the region, finding your region, and the way that you find your region, each one of these on the tags on the side will have the name of the leading county office as well as the group of county offices that form that region. So that's the first step. If you don't know which region you're with, that would be the first step. And then this problem of practice was identified by leads within those counties, and as well as was written within the plans of the continuous improvement plans. And the way that we merge this work is also with EPIC, we support through professional development, being responsive to the needs. We have come up with 3 questions, and we ask that you would please review the problem of practice, the top 3 strategies, and the goal. And then think about your local context. And one of the questions is, how does this region's problem of practice line up with your current focus? Then the next question is, to what degree do the strategies, this is the high leverage strategies, line up to the professional development and plan initiatives that you have locally or to your context? And then the last question that we hope that you get to give us some feedback, because that's the hope that we are giving this out to you, so that you also, we need to be informed we're in this continuous improvement, and that is that in what ways does the regional goal align to the English Learner Roadmap and ensure equitable access to rigorous instruction for multilingual English learner students. So with that, if there are no questions, we're here to support, but this will be quiet time. We'll have the timer for 10 minutes, and feel free to turn off your camera, you're already muted, and then we'll come back in about 10 minutes, okay? Any questions? Okay, and the reason why we're not doing breakout rooms is because we would want you to be in your own region for this. Otherwise, we would do that. But yes, I'll go quiet and we'll start the 10-minute mark. Thank you.
Can we make sure access is modified? Thank you, everyone.
please refresh. You should be able to edit, not only view. And Jeremiah, you should be able to access now. Thank you for letting us know. All right. Well, thank you for giving us some feedback. And we're going to see if we can hear from a couple of you. Perhaps Meryl from Region 1, would you like to share what your thoughts? We saw you have some notes. We'd like to invite you to unmute and give us a few of your insights.
Meeting the reclassification criteria.
Thank you. Hi.
That second piece at the local level.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I wanted to give space to whoever was speaking there.
Okay.
I think their time's passed. I am part of 21 CSLA, which is another lead initiative in the statewide system of support, and the correlation between the RELS plan is seen in our geographic region work as well. I think that this work alongside 21 CSLA and the geographic leads has led to meaning making that makes our technical assistance and our coaching within our county more clear. There's a direct through line from this problem of practice to the problem of practice that lives within the geographic lead, which informs 21 CSLA's design and co-creation of professional learning for teachers and leaders within our geographic region. So that's some of what I see happening. There seems to be like a through line happening in alignment from geographic lead, COE level, LEA, and then site teams. And that's kind of reflected in my fourth question, my fourth answer. In what ways does the regional goal align with EL roadmap and ensure equitable, rigorous instruction for multilingual students? So I just think that seeing it at these multiple levels has really captured what the problem of practice is. Now I'm like putting it all together. I've seen geographic leads do this work separately. I've seen the multilingual learner team and language and literacy team within my COE look at this work, and to see it all kind of in one made it really coherent to me that we're all working towards the same goal. So thank you.
Thank you, Meryl. What a great through line that you found for us, and especially knowing that 21st CSLA works directly with our administrators, who are the linchpin of what goes on and who's closest to our students, which is our teachers and the action in the classroom. We're going to ask Mark Drews. Mark Drews is my partner in Sacramento County Office of Ed, and I saw that you're writing about our wonderful work being done there with expanded learning. Would you like to unmute, Mark, and share a little bit?
Oh yeah, no, thank you, Graciela. As always, just that intentional partnership, even going back to the roadmap, you've led those cross-departmental meetings and helped build up my capacity and understanding. So I'm the director of expanded learning here at the Sacramento County Office of Ed for the same region, Region 3, that overlaps with Graciela's Region 3 English Language Learner Network. And so we talked about that strategic coherence, that intentionality. LEAs have reached out to us and said, we know that our out of school time, before school, after school, and intersession spaces can be so much more and support and continue to support our English language learners in ways that we haven't done prior. So what more can we do? So Graciela and your team, you've been just welcoming us with open arms, helping to build those sort of professional learning sessions for non-credentialed practitioners, para-professionals that work in out of school time, to help support English language learners, that continuum of support, and then also bringing in different opportunities for like curriculum in that we could go ahead and pilot, such as supporting journalism in the out of school time space for English language learners. We're able to pilot that. You helped build my team's capacity so that we could bring it and pilot it in expanded learning. And then also that intentionality of inviting us into your network meetings and allowing us to share promising practices with other Region 3 multilingual departments, such as that in Marysville Joint Unified with Hector Gonzalez, who is I believe the ELD coordinator for Marysville Joint Unified, and his innovative approach in the out of school time space, supporting English learners. It's called English Learner Success Program, and credentialed teachers providing tier 2, 3 supports in a project-based learning type of opportunity. And youth, English language learners are attending these project-based outdoor learning opportunities. And they're seeing that the ability to reclassify English language learners more in a way more so that they were prior to any sort of skill or strategy they were attempting earlier. So just welcoming that strategic coherence and how do we support our multilingual learners in all facets of our school sites. So that's what I was sort of writing there in our plan, Graciela.
Thank you, Mark. It couldn't be more perfect. I didn't, I'm not going to lunch or anything for that, but it was beautifully stated by both Meryl and Mark in terms of our intentionality and intersectionality. I do want to give a quick shout out to Alicia Ramirez Moreno, who's our fearless leader across the state from the Multilingual Support Division, who's here, and also GQ is the lead for our RELS work, and Lori Kelly, who is the lead for EPIC. So thanks for joining us, being in the room. Next slide, please. We can't do this work without your leadership and support. On the next slide, you see this aspect of sustainable impact. And for sustainable impact, we mean exactly what Meryl said and exactly what Mark exemplified and showed in terms of their opportunities to interact in this work. And so as Region 3, right, it's an animated slide, so please show the Region 3. It has this 10 county offices of education, and we work towards the commonality of this English Learner Roadmap Principle 3, right? It focuses on system conditions that support equity and coherence, essential to ensuring that all parts of the educational system work together to provide equitable opportunities for multilingual English learner students. This intersectionality is about seeking cohesion, where different initiatives, programs, and supports should not operate in silos. Instead, they should intersect and align to create the optimal experience for our students. And so you see here that we have, Meryl mentioned the GEO lead, and so in Sacramento, we operate with Placer County Office of Education and 12 other county offices of education. We serve about 10% of the English learner students across the state. But when we look at the EPIC work, just in Zone A, we serve about 1/4 of English learners in the state. So we've got to look for those common threads in terms of what's needed, and we do that through the feedback, and we do that through building cohesion and understanding what's needed at the local context. So on the next slide, you see that part of our intentionality with our EPIC work, and this is again across the state, because as mentioned, we elaborate with our local context so that we can have balance support and we can develop that autonomy. We are about building that capacity. So part of it is offering coaching. Part of that is the gradual release of responsibility with training. For example, we did that with instructional rounds. So we lead with shoulder to shoulder with the trainer, and then we eventually lead on to independently building our autonomy and building that subject matter dominance and having that confidence that is needed around equitable practice, especially when it comes to our multilingual English learner students. And so with that, we shift into having that ownership, because it is about that, sustainability is about ownership. And I'm going to now pass it over to Emily for some resources.
Thank you, Graciela. So we are nearing the end of our presentation, and we just wanted to make sure that we shared resources with you from both of these amazing initiatives that are doing this work to support English learner students. All of these resources they use in their work, and we just want you to know that you can use them in your work too, and you can collaborate with these initiatives as well. So first we have Find Your RELs. We have a RELs directory. Anyone can reach out to the RELs that represents your region and your county. So make sure you look them up and be sure to reach out to them. We also have EPIC's Digital Professional Learning Catalog for 25 and 26. It includes professional learning for all zones, so please bookmark this, register, and share widely. We also have EL roadmap resources for you to bring to your local context. A really great tool that we love to use when we provide support is starting off with the EL roadmap self-reflection rubrics. They are an incredible resource to kind of understand where you're at and where your goal might be to advance your English learner program. There's also the EL Roadmap Resource Hub hosted by San Diego COE, as well as a publication for best practices from research, improving education for multilingual English learner students. Please bookmark that and check it out. And with that, we want to just say thank you so much for being with us today. We so appreciate your engagement, and we're here to support you as well as you continue this work. If you have any questions, we have maybe a few minutes for you to come off of mute and ask, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here with us today.
I did have a question about coaches and how LEAs and COEs access that support. So.
Is this for our EPIC or RELs folks? I think it was EPIC when they talked about this, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I believe so. Yeah, so EPIC coaches or coaching.
Would one of our EPIC leads like to address that question?
I can speak to that. We do that on a more local base, depending on the work that we are doing one-on-one with our local education agencies. Like each one of our zone leads is working with a school or a district in particular to see that impact of more localized. And so that's one aspect of coaching. The other aspect of coaching is building that capacity at the county level. And so we have partners. So in Zone A, we have 35 county offices of education, but we work very closely with those that were willing to join us in making sure that we do the deliverables. And so there's coaching implied in ensuring that they build their capacity to build that dominance and that self-assurance in terms of supporting our multilingual learners. So I hope that answered your question.
And Jeremiah, I believe you have your hand up. Do you have a question for the group?
I do indeed. This is about the REL support. I'm very excited about this, but I don't want to run off and tell all my schools to start contacting their RELs if I don't understand correctly. I primarily support schools in helping students with disabilities who are also ELs and get a lot of questions about redesignation. So I've been pointing them towards Imperial SELPA resource page. And I was wondering if that would still be the preferred route for special ed related questions, or if RELs can also help with maybe programmatic, larger scale school impact type questions involving special ed.
Yeah, I can speak to that in general, and then the RELs feel free to fill in for me. RELs and the Project Muse actually work very closely together. Project Muse has that multilingual EL lens, but the RELs really have that EL expertise. And we know that in order for the system to work best for our EL students with disabilities, that we have to embrace EL Roadmap Principle 1, Element E, which is all about our students with disabilities. And so the RELs actually work in tandem with our Imperial County SELPA. So feel free to reach out to your RELs. They can connect you to the SELPA resource, and they can also support you in tandem with Project Muse and provide that EL expertise when we're talking about our students who are duly identified. Any RELs, feel free to chime in.
I would just echo that, Jeremiah. I'm willing to make sure that your LEAs in San Diego County partake in our sessions here at San Diego County House of Ed. So please reach out to me and we could continue the dialogue.
I have a question. I can't raise my hand for some reason. Sorry about that. Is it okay for me to jump in?
Of course, yes, please.
Okay. I'm Tanisha, 21 CSLA director. I work with Merrill May. And so we've been really using our GeoLead as an advisory source, what sort of professional developments we're providing for leaders, and our GeoLead identify multilingual learners as an area for growth. And so they were also interested in training for the county office. They did a kind of an assessment about their ability to provide support to LEAs. And so they're looking for training around their leadership in order to be able to provide the appropriate support to LEA. So I was just wondering, is there an opportunity to get that support from EPIC or RELs, or am I missing the mark with what I learned today? Or if you can point me in the right direction, that'd be fantastic. Thank you.
I can speak briefly in terms of what we have available through EPIC. If you look at our catalog across all 4 zones, there are opportunities for capacity building and through COPs as well as trainer of trainers. Many of our offerings are hybrid and also fully online. So depending on where you are in the state, there is something by way of support. And so that can come, I think someone mentioned earlier, in like a coaching kind of model. It can come in a site visitation model. It can come in a community of practice model, but there are a variety of entry points for capacity building.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Tanisha, I would also just add the RELs directory is another great place, identifying local county offices within your vicinity to provide insight and support is another route to be taken. And thank you, Emily, because you put both of those resources back in the chat.
Yes, absolutely. I know that Tony and Lisa on here are working with their GeoLead as well in Southern California. So that might be something you may want to reach out to them about to see how you can replicate the work in Northern California. I know Graciela is also involved closely with her GeoLead. So the RELs do work closely. It's just about like inviting them in, making the space, and co-creating some opportunities for support across these various initiatives in the GeoLeads. And EPIC's catalog is amazing, so make sure to check that out. Thank you so much for your questions. We also have Devin on here. She's the REL for LACO for Los Angeles, single county region. Thank you for being here, Devin.
I wouldn't miss it. I saw all these amazing faces and I was like, I have to make the time to be there to support. So thank you.
Reach out to Devin if you're in LA. She's a great resource. Any other questions we can answer at this time? If not, please reach out. I'm at the CDE, but I can direct you to your REL if you need support. I'm going to put my email in the chat. And then Lori Kelling is also here, and she is the consultant at CDE for the EPIC grant. So if you need support navigating that, I'll put her email in the chat as well. Please reach out to her. Thank you so much. We so appreciate having the opportunity to be with you today.